Welcome to the Daily Editors Podcast, the podcast that reflects, looks, and also checks the political situation in the country. Of course, this is the first time in this year that we are coming back after a long break. And I'm joined with the esteemed Standard Group journalists who cover the political field and they know it inside out. From my left is none other than the man from the Murema himself.
Asante.
Yes.
Ndungu Gachane.
Ndungu Gachane.
Yes.
Karibu sana Ndungu.
Asante.
My name is Edwin Nyarangi. I'm from the political desk.
Edwin Nyarangi has always been... speak up, Edwin.
Oh. Yes, I'm Edwin Nyarangi from the political desk. We are here to dissect the matters in the political scene.
And of course, the big man himself in a suit. Amevaa three-piece. He should have come from Blue Janza.
No, ni mashemeji.
Mashemeji. Lazima uwe hivyo.
Yes. So my name is Jeff Kirui.
Yes.
Political affairs reporter.
Yes.
With the Standard Media Group.
Jeff has always been on that beat on TV for quite a while now, I think. And I'm a host, CEO Charles Otieno. Of course, we are doing this. And the big question, gentlemen, is who is behind these abductions? Who is behind these abductions? Jeff?
I think that revelation was made yesterday.
Yeah.
And the revelation was made by the Public Service Cabinet Secretary, Justin Bidan Muturi. He's not new to controversy. We've seen him speaking to power, even when he was the AG last year before he was appointed to the public service docket. We saw him coming out, even though he denied later on that he never mentioned those statements, but he says that the president is never advised. Now coming out this time round again and putting the blame at President Ruto's doorstep, saying that when he went to State House to meet the president, that is the time that the president called the NIS director, Nordin Haji. And his son was released an hour later. So what does that tell you? It tells you that what Justin Muturi is saying is that the president is well aware of what is happening. Yeah. Never mentioned the fact that in the past the president has denied anything to do with abductions in this country. Until when he was in Homa Bay, when he was put to task by the ODM party leader Raila Odinga, the AUC candidate, to end abductions. And he said, we are going to end this thing. But again with the rider, lazima vijana wetu wakuwe na adabu. So that tells you this thing is known in government, even though some of our security heads are saying that they are not aware. They know.
So why is Muturi taking so long? His son was abducted, I think, how many months ago?
Almost
1 year.
1 year?
No, it's actually 7 months.
7 months ago. Yes. This gentleman, Justice Bidan Muturi, has been the AG. When the heat is always in the kitchen, he doesn't resign. He waits until he threatens and doesn't resign. Gachane, why?
I think it has come to a point that Muturi has realized that this government cannot be, it has reached to a point of no return. It has lost legitimacy. That is number one. And he now has decided to
why do you mean lost legitimacy?
The legitimacy in the sense, if he is coming to the public to tell us, Kirui said that the president could be aware or is aware of what is happening. But that is not what Muturi told us yesterday. Muturi told us that the president is behind the abductions. Because when it reaches to a point that only the president is calling Haji and ordering for the release of Muturi's son, that therefore means Muturi is telling us the president is not aware, but behind the abduction. That is number one. Number two, on to your question, is the reason why he is coming at this particular point in time is because he has seen, you see the famous quote, kusikiza crowd. He was at the burial ceremony last week on Friday.
Yes.
And the crowd spoke and told him they do not want to hear anything, especially about the Kenya Kwanza administration. Now, where was he, Muturi, at? He was in Embu. Embu has been the theater of the criticism. It has been the center of criticism against the Kenya Kwanza administration. We have seen there were 3 boys who were abducted. I think one came from Embu. Billy Mwangi. Yes, Mwangi. Billy Mwangi.
Billy.
Then during the Gen Z protest, Embu
they actually banned the offices of the Embu governor. And Muturi hails from Embu at a place called Kanyumbora, to be precise. Now, Muturi has seen that for him to resuscitate his career that died some years ago, you remember he was an MP, but he was never re-elected. And because he has seen that there is no direction in this government, he is now coming out. He is actually telling the president, please fire me. I want to vie for a seat in Mount Kenya. And from where I sit and stand, nobody who is afraid of this government, no apologies, no government apologies or cheerleader, who hail from Mount Kenya region, will be re-elected. So Muturi is an exit strategy for him to seek for a political seat in Mount Kenya. That is why he is coming at this particular point in time.
Then if it's an exit strategy, why is he not resigning? Why couldn't he say, after all this, I called Haji, I called P.S. Omolo, I called... it's a long statement. Why couldn't he say that since this is the situation, I'm not going to serve in this cabinet?
In my opinion, I think what Muturi is doing is playing to the gallery. He wants the president to sack him so that he can get sympathy from the public.
Because in Kenya...
That is why he does not want to resign.
Exactly.
He wants to go out there that, oh, I've been sacked. My son was abducted. This government is harassing our people. They do not want us. So he's seeking for sympathy from the people. That is why he is not going to resign. And I even think Ruto might not fire him.
And there is a narrative.
Yes.
Remember,
Yes,
there is a narrative that is ongoing that the president cannot be told anything. And when Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, he said, I am the only person who could face the president and tell him this is what is happening. Now Muturi coming in and resigning, it will actually work against him because he will look like a coward.
Yes.
Why don't you face him head on, tell him that this is the situation, let him fire you, and then you ride on the sympathy and the narrative that these people are fighting us, despite the fact that we voted in, we came in with large numbers, more than, how many, what was the percentage? Around 40, 60%?
47%.
47%.
Yeah,
Yes.
47% of the total votes actually that the Kenya Kwanza got. 47% came from Mount Kenya.
So if you ask me, this is a masterstroke actually from Muturi's side. Deciding to take the government that reserves in head on, play a victim, and then now ride with the sympathy from the region. And he will look like, I will not be surprised if in the event that he resigns or he is sacked, the next day you see him at Wamunyororo residence. That is highly likely.
You see,
Yes,
Charles,
yes.
we have actually made Gachagua. Before his impeachment, Gachagua was nobody. He was a political toddler.
Yeah.
He was just any other
Politician.
political hooligan that we used to see. But look, Gachagua is becoming a kingmaker. It has reached to a time that he is actually pointing to the people who he wants elected. Where?
Yes.
We have seen people willing to fight for him. Gachagua is rider in the making.
In Mount Kenya
to
region.
President William Ruto. Because he actually orchestrated his impeachment. Assuming Ruto ignored Gachagua the way Uhuru actually ignored him,
Ruto.
Gachagua could not have reached where he is. And this is the playbook that Muturi is reading. If he resigned, if Gachagua resigned, nobody could be talking about him. No, what are you telling us? You left the job.
You are a coward.
No, you are a coward.
Yes.
But he, people are saying, oh, there are benefits, you see, there are perks, there are what. He said, no, I cannot resign. Because he knew in resigning, he will win Mount Kenya people's hearts. And has he won them?
Yes.
That is what Muturi wants. He is actually provoking Ruto. Please fire me. Please. Oh, you have not fired me.
Literally begging.
Today I will say you are behind abductions. I actually reveal because as a member, as a cabinet, and a person who sat on the National Security Council, there are things that everybody would actually get goosebumps when you see Muturi revealing. So Muturi is actually pleading with Ruto, please fire me so that I can get sympathy from Mount Kenya region.
So what did Mount Kenya expect, Gashane? You see, the big question has always been, is it Mount Kenya, are they the most entitled people?
Yes. Let me answer you by going back to what Junet. I saw Junet in an event at Kilgoris, I think last week or saying that the Kikuyu people in Mount Kenya region have been having the politics of exclusion and entitlement, that you must be in any government. And you have asked me whether we're Mount Kenya, I don't know,
entitlement.
We feel we are so entitled.
Yes, entitled.
I am telling you, there's something Mutahi Ngonyi talked about.
Yes.
Tyranny of numbers.
Yes.
Tyranny of numbers.
Are they real?
They are real. Because, can you imagine one region investing 47% of the total votes in Kenya? If that person should not be entitled, what should he be? Because this is basically their government, and that's why you saw even the president, after replacing Gachagua, there were people saying that, oh, Anga, oh, Nini, oh, but he chose Kindiki in trying to win Mount Kenya region. But Kindiki has turned out to be, okay, according to Pete, it's not journalist, a colorless politician who is not going back to his home, who do not want to balkanize his region, to interpret it into a political influence. But come what may, Ruto chose Kindiki. Raila Odinga in 2022, he picked Martha Karua. Why? Because there is power in numbers.
Yes.
Now, these numbers, the power in numbers, is what some other people are misinterpreting to mean that we are entitled. Mount Kenya praying politics of exclusion. The reason why, and by the way, everything in Kenya is tribal. Everything in Kenya is tribal.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you have watched President Ruto in Rift Valley last week, he was actually speaking in Kalenjin, telling the people and his the cheerleaders, they were telling the locals that nobody from whom should be heard talking about Ruto must go, Ruto for one term. Nobody from
home.
Whom? There is that entitlement. If you go to US and you get a guy who is speaking your dialect, you feel so happy. This guy who comes from home, you feel, so kuna watu wa nyumbani. Now, that power of numbers, the tyranny of numbers, it is not entitlement. No.
Kirui, you see what this gentleman is telling us, Gashane, that is not tyranny of numbers. But we know that in the same government Mount Kenya are serving, they have more cabinet ministers, more public officers, more principal secretaries, more parastatal heads.
Yes. Ask me why.
Why?
Who appointed them? Did they appoint themselves? Why did Ruto appoint them, knowing too well that they come from one region?
But it's broad-based.
Exactly, but you see, I heard Peter Karuma complaining that, even Damo Rekina, saying that, this broad-based, we thought that these people, we are going to remove them from these seats, but look, this broad-based that we have over 6 years is coming from one region. What he forgot is that the region, it is not like a favor. No. You are only returning hand because these people voted for you. I'm telling you.
So the big question, Kirui, Gashane has brought us to another question here. Are these new entrants Uhuru men?
Yes and no. For one, I will say yes, because of Muturi Kagwe.
Yes.
Muturi Kagwe served in the last administration, and he has been perceived to be a very close ally of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta served as the ICT CS, and then he was later on transferred to the health docket.
Yeah.
But now, when it comes to these other two gentlemen, it's just about the politics of broad-based government and the politics that the president is playing in Mount Kenya region. He's trying to diminish some few characters who have emerged and are trying to hit at his administration. For one, in Kiambu, William Kabogo is a principal of Kenya Kwanza coalition. He signed the deal with the Kenya Kwanza with his party to Jibebe. He only resigned after being nominated to that position, ICT. You go to Lee Kinyanjui. Lee Kinyanjui, yes, was a member of the Azimio party, Azimio coalition party at that time.
Yeah.
But now the politics that he's playing is he's playing to the politics of Mount Kenya region. He appoints Muturi Kagwe from Nyeri because that is where the former deputy president is coming from. That is his backyard. He's trying to appease the people of that region. In Kiambu, We have the likes of Gathoni wa Mushomba, who are seriously hitting the government in Kiambu County. We have the Senator Karunga Wadhangwa, who is also seriously hitting the government from that region. So he is appointing these people because as a governor, I want to believe that Kabogo also has his people, the people who believe in him in that region. So as much as the president is going to other regions, wooing the western region, wooing the Nyanza region, he will need the little votes from the Mount Kenya region.
Yeah.
That is why he's bringing in the likes of Kinakabogo to bring in his people, the people who voted for him, who believed in him when he was the governor. Nakuru County, there is Lee Kinyanjui. Lee Kinyanjui has also his constituent of the people who believe in him. So you are bringing in Kidogo Ujaza, Kibaba, as you woo other region, that is in Raila Odinga and the western region, only hoping that Raila will win the AUC seat, because dynamics will change if he doesn't.
That's true.
And you'll be back to the drawing board. And if you ask me, I think that is why the president is hesitant to reconstitute IBC.
Oh, okay.
Yes. He's taking his time. He's taking
I
his
think
time.
he knows. Because why is it so difficult for the government to reconstitute IBC?
Even to form the selection panel.
Even just having the selection panel
Yes.
to sit and decide who will become the IBC commissioners.
Yeah. It has taken a while, yeah.
So basically what Kiru is saying is that these appointees are only meant to actually help Ruto to regain
The ground, yeah.
the ground.
And the optics.
And the narratives that and it's unfortunate that we as media have also been pushed to inadvertently, I say, to push a certain narrative that these are Uhuru's men, because other than Kagwe, and by the way, Kagwe's relationship with Uhuru is a bit personal, because we know Kagwe is married to Michuki's family, and we know the relationship between
Uhuru's
and the Kenyatta.
Uhuru's family. Former Nakuru governor has a party.
Yes.
It's called Ubuntu something.
Kabogo.
This Kavogo guy, he's a principal of the Kenya
Kwanza
Coalition.
coalition, yeah.
Now, Kavogo is only meant to checkmate Ruto's critics in Kiambu.
Yes.
And also, but it's very interesting because we know we have Kuria. So it's like if you remove Karanja, Dr. Karanja, who was given another position, ambassadorial position, it's like Kuria's replacement is Kafogo.
Yes. True.
So there are so many intriguing that will come up because Kuria, he has started making some funny statements against the Kenya Kwanza administration. He was in a certain TV Juicy and he said his stand, especially on abductions. You see? So it's like he has now started feeling, okay, so I'm of no use. You are now replacing me with Kafogo. So we will live in very interesting times ahead. And on whether they will be able to achieve their mandate is a different question altogether.
But if you say that these are not, the media might be misrepresenting them as Uhuru men, what was the significance of Uhuru meeting Ruto then at the Gatundu?
Strategically, I think their meeting was to have Uhuru join the broad-based government. It was strategic.
But you see...
But I would also ask this question.
Yes.
When Uhuru came to power, he also met Kibaki.
Yes.
Were there any political significance for him to meet Kibaki at that time?
He was meeting the ex-HE.
So the president also was meeting an ex-HE?
And because we have a very strategic president,
Yes.
and a very cunning one for that
Optics.
matter. Yes. So he knows by meeting with Uhuru, immediately after meeting, I will pick some people who are perceived to his men so that Uhuru can now be perceived
As
to have
being
joined
part of his
the
government.
broad-based. And what do we do as media? Immediately
ran
after
with
Uhuru's meeting,
we ran with us too.
he has appointed Uhuru's men.
But now you see, Uhuru has not matters because he has not spoken.
And he will not speak.
He will not speak.
We also had Gachagua saying that he has met President Uhuru Kenyatta. They have reconciled.
Yes.
Did Uhuru respond?
He has not.
He has not, and he will not. And because of that, Ruto knew, I will just meet you. And if you know these people may not actually be reading in the same script, if the two presidents meet, they ought to produce one statement,
Yes, communicate.
which is countersigned.
Yes.
But what did we see? We saw Ruto
Two different statements.
issue his statement saying that, we have talked the importance of broad-based, what? Then, after the public uproar,
Outcry, yeah.
then we see Uhuru saying, I have actually met him and told him that there is no need of punishing the critics of the government. So they were two different stories. That is one of the signs that tells us that were these people, did these people actually speak about what Ruto is telling us?
Or what we are made to believe they spoke about. I think
So, yes,
in politics, actually, it's all about
perception, yeah.
So the government is trying to create a perception that, or rather, the President Ruto's regime is trying to create a perception that now that you feel like tumekukosea, wewe umejitenga, unaenda kulima serikali huko kando, we've reached out to another alternative who is more powerful than you. From your side. So it's creating a perception that we've mended our differences, and now we are one thing.
Which is contrary to what maybe is happening.
Actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what, gentlemen, what do you think? Because President Ruto's regime was expected to be one of the most accomplished, because William as a person is a great speaker. He understands his craft. What beat this regime that everyone now is up in arms, apart from a few individuals from, of course, Luo Nyanza is not unhappy. They are okay.
This is the first time they're in government.
They are not.
I think Ruto was overambitious, and he made so many promises that he has not delivered. So I think he has found himself
Is it over too many promises, or just not being naive of what he was supposed to undertake?
The expectation was so high.
The expectations of the people are very high, and I think he has not taken this matter seriously to address what he promised Kenyans. He has not delivered the manifesto that he gave to Kenyans, and now we are living in a different generation, whereby the youth are very active and they keep tabs and know what is happening. So you cannot lie to them. If you lie to them, they point you out.
And
so I think Ruto was not. I think he was equally amazed and surprised when he was announced president, because I don't think he had any agenda for Kenyans. And I would say this because 2 years down the line, he has not established any project that he would baptize as his legacy project.
we have the housing. What are you talking about?
Controversial housing.
We have the housing which we are baptizing.
No, we actually write it.
Yeah.
A controversial housing, affordable housing scheme. Another controversial shoe. You know. So how can you say that?
It is Sha, not Shisha Chu.
How do you say that those are his legacy projects? Surely, a legacy project is supposed to bring you votes. You see?
Yes.
Something that you remembered for. Uhuru is remembered for by what? Because of the Keno Marua Road, the expressway, Kibaki,
Thika Highway.
So are you telling us that we shall remember Ruto because of deducting Kenyans' money, the housing the fund, and then redirecting that money to Treasury Board? Surely. And then who has got these houses?
I think the moment
Yes.
the government touched people's pay slips,
Yeah.
that was the breaking point. Because when you came in, if I was earning 50,000,
Yeah.
2 years in office, I'm earning 58,000. I'm poorer than I was at
Yes,
that time.
poor, yeah.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? It tells you that this government, the policies that they came up with, is actually going to be their downfall. Why?
Exactly.
Because they went with so many projects at the same time. Within 2 years, you want to implement a dozen projects. You want to implement affordable housing projects. You want to implement schools, CBC and funding model.
Yeah.
You have to implement She and Sha. And all this is actually raiding the pay slip of that person who is already feeling the pinch of the high cost of living. What do you expect?
It just hits them below the belt completely.
That is what is happening now.
Yeah.
So unless this government look for something tangible to put money in people's pockets before 2027, it's going to be at all loss.
But I think I doubt. I want to disagree with my brother Kiwi. I do not think that for them to be elected, and by the way, I've studied the politics of this country, I don't think one needs to do some development to be elected in Kenya. Because I'll give you a scenario. I was working in Muranga, I was a correspondent in one of the dairies here in this country. And in Murang'a, the former governor had not established tangible policies, especially in the health sector. So Murang'a people used to go to Thika to get, especially those from Gatanga. You know Gatanga?
I know Gatanga is next to Thika.
So Kafogo was the governor. So there was medicine and there was everything. But what former Murang'a governor had done, he had actually bought ambulances. And he could actually tell some drivers of those ambulances to sometimes make sure that
The siren is on.
Murang'a, so that you see, Murang'a, they have ambulances. So Murang'a ambulances used to ferry passengers, patients from Murang'a to Thika. It came to a point that there was a directive. Some of the patients from Gatanga were told, your governor is only buying ambulances and not equipping the health facilities. But when it came to the election day, Kafogo was not elected. Wairia was elected. Why? What Ruto will do, he will change a political narrative. And that is why they have come up with a political narrative of these people, they are entitled. That is incitement against community. So that these all other communities will now stand up, not because of issue-based politics or narratives, but because it is true. Wait, come to think of it. Watu wanajifanya wao ni nani? Kila siku lazima. So all these other communities will unite against one community. And that is how Ruto will win back. Because the problem with Gen Zs, as you put it, they are very good at social media. But do they vote? Do they participate in even not voting? When a Gen Z goes to the hospital, akiona raini, anapona. So they are not patient enough to have their voice in the ballot. And Ruto, the ethnic and regional balkanization may be the narrative for 2027 politics.
Are you saying 2027 will be replayed as 2007? Gashane?
Something close to that. I foresee that.
But there's
People
also, remember there are very many tangent issues which we are talking about. The reading of payslips Kirui has talked about, which is key. The funding model, which many kids are out there, they don't even know whether they join university or not. We have this health sector which is in crisis every day. So beyond all this, and then there's another Gen Z. There's a whole lot of people, and that's why you see this caricaturing, which is getting beyond even. And I don't know what do you guys think about this new model of AI and the youth getting to the spaces where they were not before.
I think there is one thing you've mentioned. The Gen Z started a demonstration on June 25th, 2 weeks before that. The demonstrations were in the streets. There was tear gas. Now that demonstration is online.
Of course.
The Gen Zs now have taken the war to President Ruto's doorstep. What he used at that time to get to power, that is the digital platforms, is now what the Gen Zs are using to destroy him. The same platform that they were very confident that is going to give them presidency is what now they need to be wary of. Because you cannot throw tear gas at the digital platform. Where's tupa tear gas Twitter, or TikTok. And you cannot arrest these people. You've seen them, some of them when they are rounded up, they go to court, they get released.
Yes.
And this thing will continue. And you cannot intimidate these people. You saw recently the interior CS akijaribu kuambia nyinyi hamwezi niweka kwa hiyo kitu. Before amalize, already ashawekwa. So this is a generation that you cannot intimidate. Even here in the office, unaonanga saa zingine, mtu anakuambia, hey, it's my time, 5. Anashika anaenda. You cannot tell them anything.
Yes.
So any other person actually who is akona Gen Z kwa nyumba atajua. This is not a generation to intimidate.
Yes.
This is not a generation to be cowed.
Yes. And you can't tell them to follow this.
Yes, but other than criticism, I think the public participation and civic education must be conducted to these people. That other than criticism and using social media to air your grievances, your time has come. You also need to take to register yourself as a voter, so that you participate in nation building. Because other than making noise, your noise will mean nothing if by the end of the day you are not participating in electing the right people into this office.
Now, Gashane, there is another problem that lies there. who are the ones who are controlling this issue about registering voters?
The
It's
government.
big
Government.
Right now, you don't have a commission, which means you cannot even register as a voter.
And
Yes.
by the way,
And the IDs are delaying.
And the IDs are delaying. So
Yes.
this is an...
And you see, there is a story actually we are following, although we are doing it silently. We want to know whether the government is actually issuing
IDs.
IDs. Because the problem with the government offices is that they are not independent. Because, for example, the registration bureau should be an independent office. Because if they do not want particular people not to participate in the elections, what they will do, they will only stop issuing those IDs. But with the push and with the vigor in which these people, the youth, are actually realizing that they have power. They also that's also an area that they should look into and force the government to ensure that every person gets ID. Because if their work is only to make noise, the government will only ignore them.
But they're not only making noise, Gashane. Remember, these guys are caricaturing the president. They're caricaturing the regional leaders.
Yes.
They're caricaturing the cabinet ministers. And if you tell them to stop, they put you in a coffin.
But is that enough?
Number two, that is one. Number two, these guys, we've seen the Gen Zs getting arrested.
Yes.
But is it stopping them?
It is not.
it is not.
So I think what they need is to channel their energy towards a political outfit.
Exactly. That's what I'm
And I
talking
think
about.
at the right time, they might. I don't know whether you guys will see. They might.
They might, but also they squandered an opportunity. They had a chance
Yeah.
when the president called them for a sit down.
Yeah.
I think it was a wrong move for them
To
deny-
reject.
to reject that
Yes,
opportunity,
reject,
because it
yeah.
was an opportunity for them to actually lobby
Yes.
to get positions in the cabinet that was going to be unveiled by the president at that time. They would have actually lobbied to get at least 2 or 3 seats
Yes.
given to them, but they rejected that opportunity. Now the only chance that they have right now is only if they are going to register as voters,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, when they register as voters, the government will know where the numbers are. They will know where the numbers are, and they will reach out to them.
I don't think that their efforts culminating into a political movement means these people are lobbying for positions in President Ruto's administration. That is not what I think. I think they need to chart their way forward politically. Because, for example, there is this youth who said that he was actually telling his colleagues, and he was very popular during protest. He said youth should identify themselves with political parties. And he joined the ODM.
Oh,
This
Kasmuel.
guy, Kasmuel, yes. And he was very popular. Everybody was actually following him. But if we believe Kenya's problem has been these same people, the very same people, for over 30 years, the same people, and you are saying you are joining their party. Political parties in Kenya are special purpose vehicles. And by the way, they are found, formed, and financed by their political party leaders.
Yeah.
So UDA is William Ruto, and William Ruto is UDA. That is why they have tried snatching Jubilee from Uhuru, imesindikana. Because that is his briefcase party. So Kasmuel must conform to Raila Odinga's ideology. Raila Odinga is a person. Now, these people, the youth, the Gen Zs, should organize themselves and form a political party on their own that will act as a broom, kifagio, replacing these old same faces in the Kenyan political system. That's what I think.
By the way, if the Gen Zs vote, we are bound to see change. Because if you look at the trends, even in the last election, we had like over 8 million registered voters who did not vote. Imagine if these people voted. Imagine even 6 million of them voted. They could have made a difference, whichever way they could have voted. So I think if they will vote, if they will register and vote, we'll see a difference. But if they will be shouting and crying in the social media platforms, it will just end that way.
So gentlemen,
Yes.
let me take you back to the big topic which we had, abductions. President Ruto seems to be under the rock and a hard place. The kids are on his spaces, on his face, and in social spaces. What can he do to get out of this predicament?
I think what the president can do, if there is a unit that is abducting people, he should just disband it. If there is a unit that has been commissioned to do that, he should just disband it. Because right now, even before, it is very hard to convince Kenyans that it is not the government that is behind abductions.
People, yeah.
Yes. So take a back seat, keep quiet, let this thing die down. But as long as we continue to see these things, this thing is not going to die down. Even if there were people who have a problem with you,
Yeah.
they'll come for you
Yes.
and purport to be
The government.
the government.
Yeah.
Number two, Ruto should learn the art of delegating responsibilities. He needs to trust the people he has given positions. Number two, he should stop over-promising. Let him identify one project,
and deliver.
complete, deliver it, go to the next one. Number three, issuing apology. I think the president Kenyans deserve apology from the president. You know, he during the protest, he called people, he described the move as treasonous activities, criminals. See, wajinga, wakona evil, mapepo. Watu wanasema tunaweza manipulate results. He should come up and stamp authority. Let him be in charge. President Ruto is not in charge of this country. His cronies are.
And who are these cronies, Gashane?
We have those people who are saying that, have you ever had a president of one term? That's a crony. That's a cheerleader. That is somebody who is defending the president by hook or crook. We have seen others. I mean, we have seen videos, people pushing others, you know.
Yeah, and you don't need to come and abuse your electorates.
Yeah, you don't.
See, when you see a leader coming out to use unpalatable terms, unpalatable words,
Yes.
in front of a president, the president is standing next to you, but you're using unpalatable words, and the president does not come to
Admonish.
admonish him.
Yeah.
That tells you, in essence, he is actually supporting the sentiments of that person
Yes.
indirectly.
Yes.
I think that this broad-based government was supposed to be a solution to the crisis the president was undergoing. But it seems it has added more fuel to the fire,
Yes.
that the president now is even in a more predicament.
Yes.
In what was supposed to get him out, he's still in that heat. What could he do? Is it broad-based or bread-based then?
You see, the president
Yeah.
was trying to silence the criticism. And he thought, you know, Raila has always been the go-to person in terms of crisis for any president. They admonish him as Muganga, as Mchawi during campaigns. But when things go haywire, they run to him. Now, what the president did not know, that it is not, we are not living in the past. We have even have people in his government. Muturi taking a brave move and saying the president is the one who released my son. I mean, what is that? We have seen the former deputy president before he was impeached going to Mombasa, issuing a press after Ruto, and saying, you know what, Nordin Haji is the person behind these things. So what I'm saying is, the president thought he was silencing his criticism. But we have seen an emergence of a new face, a revolution in his administration. So, in the first place, the solution to criticism was not Raila. The solution to criticism was addressing people's concerns, reasoning to them, stop creating a culture of lies, as what he was told by the Catholic bishops. By the way, he got he got the wrong prescription to his problems, and the wrong prescription was broad-based.
I want us to end this conversation, gentlemen. Your last words, my brother.
Yes, what I can say, I think our country is in a crisis at the moment, and the president needs to act like a leader. The buck stops with him. He needs to put his house in order and make sure that he's able to deliver at least some of the promises he made to Kenyans. And it is also important for him to listen when Kenyans speak or when they say something is not good. He should not force it down our throat. If we tell him something is not working, he should listen to us. It cannot be that we are all wrong and he's right. He needs to change.
Kirui.
I think this regime right now, it's time to deliver the promises that they made to Kenyans. It is not time to make new promises. Deliver the initials on that you made.
In your manifesto.
In your manifesto. Now wache mambo ya kutuambia in the next 6 months or in the next 2 months. Please finish them.
Yes.
Don't give us timelines.
Yes.
Because you give us timelines, you raise our hopes. And then ikifika hiyo time, tunakulima, unaanza kusema, tuko na mapepo. So, that is my message. And another thing is this.
Yes.
We are in a crisis as a country.
Yeah.
2 years or so to an election, we do not even have a selection panel for IEPC. Now think about this. I want to leave you with this. That time we had the Gen Z protests. What would have happened at that time had the situation escalated to an extent that military was called in? No IBC, and the military is in charge. Imagine the crisis that we would have been as a country.
A military state.
A military state.
Yeah.
Right now we are heading to an election, 2 years to an election. We don't have a selection panel in place. And you cannot tell me the president is in a fix. He cannot fix that. No, he can, but he just doesn't want to, if you ask me. That is my opinion.
I think the president, his urgent assignment is to fire all his economic advisors and all those who advise him, because they are misadvising our good president. They are misadvising our God-given president. Because when you see...
I don't have to go there about God-given.
when you look at what is the chairperson of eminence of council, economic council, yes, David Day has been writing to social media. He has been saying that they found this country corrupt and they'll leave it corrupt. That's the advisor for the president, really.
Yes.
So that is why things are going haywire. He needs the right people at the people who are surrounding him. That is his urgent assignment. If he wants to resuscitate his dying political career, he needs to urgently fire all his advisors and all those people who now surround him. For here is a teetotaler. When he's taking tea jioni, those people who surround him are lying to him. There is a disconnect between the president and Kenyans. To bridge that disconnect, he needs to fire these people. That is his number one assignment. Number two, as Mr. Kirui has said, let him just stop over-promising. Let him just take a project and do not even launch it. Just go to that particular project when it is complete. Commission it when it is done.
Ready.
When it's ready, you people will start, because what the problem is the trust deficit. He has lost confidence, legitimacy, and trust, legitimacy from the people. He must regain it. And people like Sudi, Engineer Mkarabati, they should know that instead of making us love the president, when they open their mouth in the name of defending him, they are creating and widening the rift, the already existing rift. So I think they should rethink their strategy. And number three, he must do an overhaul of his communication department. The president should know that we have competent people like Charles who have been in communication for over 20 years. people like Kirui,
No.
who are supposed to.
Utamilibwa.
So because they are not communicating. By the way, probably there are some of the government policies that mean well to the people, but we do not know. We only know that they want to stop our cows from farting. That is the only thing we know. They are not telling us what the real reason behind these policies. Sure, I hear, unlike the NHIF, where you could only be enrolled after 3 months, I hear you can be enrolled immediately. They are not telling these things, this shisha. Shisha. So he should do an overhaul. He have to get the right people to communicate the government programs to the people. Yes.
So I think you've captured it, but there's something you said that God-given.
Yes.
And you've said something about when he's taking tea.
Yes.
So are you trying to say that in wine there is truth, in tea there is lies? Kirui.
I don't know about that, but there was a friend of mine who told me you can never sustain an economy with tea.
And Rijiro also said something about
Yes.
maybe he needs to do something that Huru was using to fix these problems.
Yes.
Because when I want to know more about, when I want to, you could be a boss at certain place.
Yeah.
Gioni, you buy something, whiskey or wine.
And people
some
sit and celebrate.
when they are drunk, they tell, now by the way, you think that you are so clever.
Yeah.
They will tell you the truth. Nobody will tell you.
In wine there is truth.
In wine there is truth, because nobody will tell you the truth when he is sober. Because tomorrow he'll blame mtu jana najua nilikukosea ilikuwa pombe.
You see, the biggest problem with William, and I will end it this way, is that one of the things he did is to close the State House bar. Sometimes there are some spaces which are there for you to gather information, which is not necessarily official. They are unofficial. They come in a very awkward manner, but they will give you those lighting bulbs which can help you grow the economy.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest mistake he did. You do not shut the State House bar, where those characters who love their bottle will come and enjoy. But you can continue with their tea and their crusade.
Yes.
But do not deny others, because that's a State House. Gentlemen, thank you for showing up. Tomorrow we discuss IBC.
Sure.
And the selection panel.
Yes.
And we move to AUC. That's why we left it. So, asanteni sana.